Good morning, everyone. Namaste. I'm going to call in Archangel Michael to clear, cleanse the space of all negative and lower vibrations from our mind, body, and soul, home and hearts, placing the white light of protection around us with his blue seal. And today, guys, we're going to be reading more from St. John on the Cross, the Dark Night of the Soul. So those that might still be in the dark night of the soul, coming out of the dark night of the soul, there are always multiple dark night of the soul. So just because you had one does not mean you're done. Essentially, it's your way of cleansing, clearing your auric field, as well as your vibrational level, your karma, so that you can be in a higher vibration, bringing the lessons out of the dark night of the soul, but releasing the pain. So we are currently on the introduction portion of this still. It states, having described this passive night of sense in chapter 8, St. John explains with great insight and discernment how it might be recognized whether any given aridity is a result of the night or whether it comes from the sins or imperfections, or from the frailty of lukewarmness of spirit, even from indisposition or humerus of the body. The saint is particularly effective here, and we may once more compare the chapter with a similar one of the ancient, that is, which he fixes the point where the soul may abandon discursive meditation, enter a contemplation which belongs to the loving and simple faith. Both these chapters, chapter 2 and chapter 8, have contributed to the reputation of St. John the Cross as a consummate spiritual master. And this is not only for the objective value of his observation, but because even in spite of himself, he betrays the sublimity of his mystical experiences. Once more, too, we may admire the crystalline transparency of his teachings and his precision of the phrase in which he closes it. To judge by his language alone, one might suppose at times he is speaking of mathematical rather than of spiritual operation. In chapter 10, the saint describes the discipline which the soul in the dark night must impose upon itself. This is as might be logically deduced from the ancient consist in allowing the soul to remain in peace and quietness. So probably they're talking about when they put you into, and I've been in this for a couple of years now, they put you into kind of like a hibernation so that you can really go within and work through it. You aren't going to have a lot, some people might have to quit their jobs during this time period, but whatever the case may be, it's a lot of intro, inside work that you're doing with them. Content with peaceful and loving attentiveness towards God. Before long, it will experience enkindlings of love, which will serve to purify its sins and imperfections, draw it gradually nearer to God. So you're, during these time periods, are going to get closer with God and your team and your I am. You're activating you and your higher self are becoming one. We have here, as it were, so many stages of the ancient of those submit the soul attains to transformation union. Expounds the last line of the first stanza, brings to an end what the saint desires to say with respect for the first passive night. So I'm going to leave it at that, but I've had several dark night of the souls. I'm coming out of one right now. And there's a lot of lessons in it and a lot of, one might presume heartache, but it's where you are gaining that strength and that inner wisdom, that inner bringing God to the forefront of your life, because you're in such a place of surrender that you have no choice but to surrender to God and let him lead. You're going to realize that once you surrender quickly to God during your dark night of the soul, things are going to go much quicker, because a lot of it is about you surrendering, trying to control every aspect in your life. So I love you all. I hope this helps, and namaste.